Weaving like DNA strands on a fascinating roller coaster of endless learning, experimentation, and discovery of technology, where the destination is not the end and the journey is the most fun. This is the Helical Brew, with your hosts, Mike, Sura, Jeff, and Ellie.
Well, hey, everybody, it's episode 6 of your original Brew Crew on the Helical Brew, episode 6, and welcome back. Today, we're just kind of have a loose discussion, as we always do, but this time it's going to be maybe even a little bit looser. It's Halloween. Happy Halloween. We're shooting this on Halloween, so, you can have a retrospective Halloween when this episode airs. You'll hear about Halloween, which was going to be probably 7 days ago from the time you hear this. But we decided not to dress up because of that. It's not going to be so Halloween if we're not on Halloween. But we're
This podcast
at least we'll give a shout out to Halloween and say, hey, it was cool. I'm expecting in my new neighborhood. I know there's a lot of kids around, and a lot of decorations too. So I'm guessing there's going to be quite a few trick-or-treaters. So I actually will have to go and get prepared for that. Anyway, we are back on, and we thought we would talk a little bit about technology, maybe that hasn't gone wrong, but technology that just didn't really work out so well. The list is long, right? Or hasn't worked out yet, right? The overhyped technology that just got pushed so much, and I can think of one in particular where the one doing it is also putting objects in space, which is pretty amazing, right? I mean, that is pretty cool. Except down here on the ground, autonomous cars and things like that, maybe not so much. And I love how they use cities like San Francisco to be the test case, because that totally makes sense, right? It's a really, really hard city to drive around with a human, let alone an autonomous car. But we'll get more into that. First of all, let's go around the country and check in. Jeff, you're up. What's going on, man?
Oh, I've got some family coming in this weekend for the Swifties show.
Oh, wow.
Where I'm at in town. Yeah, she's playing 3 nights. So
3 nights?
Yes.
Wow. What's the ticket run? What's the ticket price?
I don't know. If you have to ask, you probably can't afford it.
All right.
All I know is that she's bringing in millions and millions of dollars to Indianapolis. Okay,
yeah,
great. It's an economic boom, but it's kind of like they have her 300-foot face plastered on the side of JW Marriott downtown. It's an event, and it's been up there for 2 weeks. So, the second coming of Taylor Swift is here.
Incredible. Well, I've yet to go to a Taylor Swift show, but I'd like to. I mean, live performance is pretty amazing.
I know what I'm getting you for your birthday.
Swiftie show?
He's recording.
At least a Swiftie sweatshirt that says, Taylor Swift. Or
I saw the 1984 tour recording, the one they did in Australia. It's like, she's just an incredible performer, like live performer. That's a lot of stuff that's got to go right, and you've got to do all that while it's happening to make that work. So, well, then enjoy your guests and enjoy your show.
Oh, I'm not going. No.
Okay. But are they going to do anything around? Are they going to do like some sort of like event around these concerts? I mean, it seems like they've gotten so big that there's an event before the event and after the event.
Yeah, I have no idea. I would imagine something's going on. There's, pre-parties, after parties, and after the after parties, and who knows.
Jeff, you're a secret fan. You know it. Blasting Swift in the background.
Thanks, Sura. My secret's out. Thanks a lot.
Closet Swiftie.
I see a title already. Oh, great.
Write that down. And heading up a little further north there in the great
it's a nation, Mike.
Canadian
Another nation.
province of Ontario. How you doing?
Very good, very good. Thank you, Mike. And I'm also enjoying the visit of my brother here. So he came from
That's
Ecuador.
right. He's in town.
Yeah, he's in town. He will be here for a couple of weeks. So we are just planning all the work that we
Doesn't
have
make
to
sense to come all the way from Ecuador for just a couple of days, right?
do. No, no, no. He needs to stay longer. I wish he will stay much longer. But yeah, he and the kids are planning Halloween as well because they're also excited about it and dressing up later. So we'll see.
Have they revealed? Do you know their costumes?
Well, Marek is going to be the Joker, and my daughter, I think, is it.
It.
Okay.
Yes.
Very.
Yes, so they both have figured out the costume. They just have to dress up.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so it's going to
I
be
would have thought with her
interesting.
dark hair, she could go as Wednesday.
I
Oh,
don't
Wednesday, right?
Yeah, Wednesday from the Addams Family.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, from what I've seen, it looks like a good neighborhood for trick or treating. I gotta imagine there's
Yeah, a
got
lot of people.
sidewalks
Yeah, a
and
lot
all
of
that.
kids. Yeah, a lot of kids. So I got already lots of candy and stuff for them. But Marek has been eating the candy, so it's kind of reduced already.
You have a little bit less.
Yes. We have to
All you
still
have is candy
hide
corn
it.
left.
It's not my fault.
Yes.
It's
I
just
like candy corn.
I do too, but it's just like, when that's the only thing in the bowl, you're like, oh man.
It's one of the 4 food groups.
I went for Korean food last night, and the bibimbap, the hot pot where it's cooking as it arrives. I just been jonesing for that for a while, and there's a place that's gotten really popular. I totally forgot about the World Series too. And as I'm going in
Oh.
there are people screaming and yelling in this place. Because I'm like, a Wednesday, yeah, it's a popular place, but it's a little much.
It's
And then I realized
popular.
there was a huge LA contingent there cheering them on, and they got what they wanted because that's a done deal. World Series is over, and LA wins.
Apparently, it wasn't much of a series, was it?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
I
Okay.
mean, the Padres made it very far, so that tells you a lot.
It's been a while since I remember the Padres being like at the the top of the top. Yeah. Same. And then in the Astros, so I was in Houston for my high school reunion and going around and seeing the Astros, and I can't unsee or unthink that whole thing about the camera that they had set up for the cheating, sort of. I mean, I don't know. It's I know some people are on the fence as to whether it was or not, but they still have the
Data
World Series
collection.
title. Yeah, right.
Data collection.
Exactly. My phone suggested I look at blinds and shopping today because it must have heard me talking about blinds earlier. Maybe you could maybe call it that. I don't know.
I
And
love our little sports segment.
that's right. Oh, Jeff, speaking of sports, I got an 80-pound ruck sandbag.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you
upgraded.
go.
But I was thinking they'd send me the sand. And I'm like, no sand.
That's extra.
Look at how strong I am. It's 80 pounds.
Ooh.
Wow.
So I'll be heading to Home Depot this weekend to fill that thing with sand. All right. Well, rounding out the country and heading back into my time zone. Sura, what's going on?
Nothing much. Back home, no hotel craziness behind me anymore. So
How was Northern California?
it was fun. We had a good time. Met up with some business up there, and then partied on the boat with the company for 10 years of business. So it was fun.
Partied on a boat in the Oakland Marina, I take it?
Yeah. And there was like a bunch of songs that came on, and they were going wild, jumping up and down. I thought the boat was going to be rocking, but it held up.
I'm like, how big a boat are we talking about here? Like 30 foot, 40 foot?
Oh,
I
dinghy
don't know,
or
man.
what?
I was drinking aged tequila. Don't ask me these questions.
I didn't
All she,
measure.
All she knows is there's a restraining order and she can never return.
Jose Cuervo La
I mean,
Familia.
I think I remember like walking the steps, but I can't remember the number, so I can't tell you.
All right, well, enough said. Must have been a good party. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get to the Bay Area in the next couple of weeks and say hello to my former hometown, and but probably won't get over there to Oakland. Just hang out in the East Bay.
Hey, come back down to San Diego.
I know that's I got to go to Orange County actually before Thanksgiving, so that's at Orange County, San Diego. You know, one time I had to take an Uber because something happened at the San Diego airport, so I ended up having to take an Uber from Orange County to San Diego.
Ooh, that must have been expensive.
$140. I mean, I was amazed. That's a 2-hour drive. I was in the car with this guy for 2 hours.
Wow.
And the lucky thing was he actually lived in San Diego. I'm like, what are you doing up here in Orange County? So because
It's like it's a 2-hour fare.
Exactly.
Unbelievable.
Did you think
Smart guy.
the comfort settings? Do not talk to me. 2 hours of silence.
Oh yeah, it was like 10 o'clock at night too. I was not. I was not into. I didn't even want to look at my phone or anything. I just want to look out the window. I'm like, I cannot believe I'm taking an Uber all the way from Orange County to San Diego. So hopefully, I'll let you know when that all comes together. I'm heading down to the land of the Padres. So yeah, well, glad to hear everybody's doing great. And in this episode, I thought I'd kick it off a little bit with just thinking back in the technology days. I mean, especially as those some more tech heads than other, tech geeks or gadget geeks, if you will, having adopted technologies that went nowhere. I never got into the 3D television thing, but it's just because I wasn't in the market for one. But I remember 3D television. That was hilarious. It's like you see people go into the living room and they're wearing glasses. It's like, how long is this going to last? And it kind of made me pessimistic about augmented reality and virtual reality.
Oh,
What?
didn't make that bet, did you?
No, right. Well, I mean, now look, Apple's got a whole product line that they're trying to come up with around that. I mean, worth billions of dollars in investment, right? So they're not stopping, even though the market's saying I can't really justify spending $3,500 for one of these things. They're still keeping up with it, which I commend them for. I think it's you have to have guts and money to go after something like that. But like the 3D television thing, I remember somebody telling me, this AV expert recommending, he's like, the only reason you buy a 3D TV is because it's got superior display technology just to watch it in normal 2D, right? So don't get a regular 2D TV, get a 3D TV and watch 2D on it. That was his suggestion. But I'm the type of person that owns a TV until it breaks, and my last one happened the last 15 years. So I just completely missed it. Yeah, but I know, Jeff, you had mentioned this, and this is something I grew up with. I remember in high school in Japan, they were talking about assistants at home, because the aging population in Japan and around the world, right? I mean, populations are getting older. Population growth rates are sometimes very low, or they're actually in decline in some parts of the world. So, your elderly care becomes a challenge. It becomes even bigger challenge with things like that. So this whole idea of having a home assistant has been out there. I can remember Honda, Toyota, they all had like programs, humanoid robot programs, and you'd see these things on TV and you're like, oh wow, that's amazing. In 10 years you'll have one of these in your house, right? Well, it's been 25 years and I haven't seen any of that stuff in my house. But what are your thoughts on that, Jeff? I mean, what does that bring back? What memories does that bring back for you?
Well, I'll preface the whole conversation. I think this is important to understand because it does trigger the ethics behind autonomous stuff. And we're going back a ways here to 1942 to Isaac Asimov's 3 laws of robotics. So the first one's being a robot may not injure a human human being, or through interact or inaction, allow a human being to come to harm. And then the second one is a robot must obey the orders given it by human beings, except such orders would conflict with the first law, meaning, hey, hurt me. Oh, I can't do that. That disobeys the first law. And then the third law is a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second laws. So everything is refer to the first law, everything. So, yeah, I think that's going to be critical for, I know we haven't seen them yet. You're right. Oh, that was 25 years ago. I'm still waiting. Hello. Populations are not young. Boomer generations are now on their way out. Unfortunately, my parents are boomers. It's just the way it is. And then those of us who are following them are the next in line. So, you know, the automated robots for the home and those types of things. One that just came out recently, which was, let me look again, the Optimus from Tesla came out. And then it came out just recently, a couple days ago, I think, that it was teleoperated in those videos. Off camera, of course, but you couldn't see a teleoperator in the background. So it was hyped. Again, you go to the overhyped, underdelivered. It was hyped, but then when you look at it and you know the truth behind that, turns out it was teleoperated, which Boston Dynamics did the same thing too with the Atlas in the early stages. So they could test specific activities or motions to see how they would actually work and how the robot's internals would actually work. So if they can mimic it through teleoperation, okay, what's the robot going to do based on that action? So then they could probably go back, revamp code to say, all right, now the teleoperation is out of it. Let's see how it will react if it does it on its own. Did the code work type of thing? So there's a lot that is to be said about that. And I hope it does come to fruition eventually. But the price has to come way down. We know that there's shortage of healthcare workers, the shortage of workers in every sort of industry like that, food service, whatever. You know, what makes the most sense? There's a lot of tasks that go into home healthcare for elderly care. It doesn't mean getting that person out of bed. That's a lot of complex movements that really right now only a human can decipher pretty quickly and safely, of course. And then, okay, is it taking this person to the bathroom? Well, I would not want a robot dropping my grandmother and popping her head on a porcelain toilet. And then next thing you know, grandma's now laying 6 feet in the ground. But those are
That
things
went
to
dark
consider.
fast.
I know it did. It did. I'm just pointing out the obvious, Sura. That's all there is. You know, just keep it common sense. So,
Stop.
but I do hope it comes to fruition, but there's a lot still to go for sure. We may not see it in our lifetimes.
Yeah, I would be shocked if we did. And I'm planning on living till 90. So
I mean, I'm only 25, so I got lots of life left here.
plenty of time. Plenty of time. Yeah. Yeah, I've got Optimus up here. Yeah, that is I'd say by far the coolest of the humanoid. Because even the Boston Dynamics stuff looks too
much battlefield. It looks like
right.
You know.
Atlas
They
is
have
not
a new
something I want
one.
to stand next to at all. You know?
Yeah,
Looks
they have
cool.
a new robot. I think they just released. I don't remember the name though. But
Who was this?
Boston Robotics, and it's quite interesting what they're doing there.
Boston
I think
Dynamics.
the one is that is called Spot. I think that one is really meant to be for like inspection of certain construction areas and places where it's dangerous for humans to be. And that makes a lot of sense to me because, you know, having a robot doing and the vision you can control, the lighting and everything, as of sending a human, it could be a lot more dangerous.
Yeah. Well, I'm on their website. So there's 6 pictures under the title Real World Applications. 5 of the 6 are Spot out of all their robots. One of them is their warehouse robot. I don't know if you've seen that. It's like a 6-axis robot, customized. but it can do truck loading, unloading. So it's got behind it, it's got a huge conveyor, and then you can just, the robot can move and shift within the truck, and it can unload a truck full of boxes. So makes sense. That's practical. But yeah, none of their real world application pictures involve Atlas or any of the
Yeah,
humanoids
no,
Right.
not
doing
yet.
their thing. But you know what? It's a technology platform. At the end of the day, I think of any company, if you can commercialize some things and then to feed your R&D, that's the key, right? They just happen to be heavy R&D centric company because I studied control systems for 6 years, and it's like this stuff's really hard. I mean, to implement in a system, especially when you've got all the dynamics of these quadrupedal or bipedal applications with the vision system and combining all that. It's insane. I mean, I love the comparison videos of like a robot, standing on its legs from 2004 and then comparing it to 2024. And like you push on the 2004 robot and it's like,
Yeah.
well, somebody had a little too much tequila.
Oh, I'm glad you went there.
and then the other one's like, what is tequila? Cannot deviate, cannot be tipped over. I mean, it's perfectly rigid and standing up. So we have come a long way. It's just it isn't the big magic application of having a robot bedside when you wake up, so you can help you go to the bathroom or go downstairs or what have you. But I don't, and it's not like it's been hyped that much. I don't see companies saying you'll have one of these in your house on such and such a date. Versus like autonomous driving, multiple manufacturers have made claims of that, but nothing's. Either somebody's getting sued a lot, like a taxi company or something like that, for having one accident, right? All it takes is one accident. The next thing you know, you're in litigation for 10 years on something like that. But do you see? I'm curious. Since in the U.S. it varies by state, varies by locality in a lot of ways. I mean, the National Transportation Safety Board hasn't really weighed in that much, but in terms of like automated things out in public, Elizabeth, how does Canada kind of treat that? Like, usually it's cars, but it could be other things. Could be a spot. Could a spot just operate on the street
It was
in
interesting a
Canada?
few years ago. Like there was a whole buzz over these robots that were on the street carrying things or transporting things. That to the point that people were complaining to the city, saying that it's dangerous to have a robot and people in the same space, so they should remove them. And I think they banned them from some time. But now I've seen more restaurants using the mobile robots to transport food, and family restaurants where you have typically kids and everything, and it's been more and more adopted at this point. So I think businesses and especially restaurants are starting to see some benefit to have the robots to assist, but still they go with a human next to the robot just to make sure that
Just to unload it, right? No
yes.
self-service off the robot.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say I see that a lot, right? But it's always human assisted. Like we are seeing them come into our space, like restaurants. I see it at my daughter's like dental office, right? Greeting like children and playing games with them. So I think it's it's coming to fruition, and it might be that the technology is not there, but it's also like society is not there, right?
Mm-hmm.
To allow for autonomous like robots roaming the earth as well, right? So I think wherever you see a robot, you see human. Like at Target, they have automated robots that clean the floors, but there's always like a human trailing after them, right? So I think a lot of it is that the technology isn't there, and a lot of it is, our own comfort with having a robot, off leash.
Right.
Our local warehouse, like a Costco type, it's called BJ's. They have a cleaning robot just like that. I think it's a cleaning robot, or maybe it's a "Hey, I'm here to help you" robot. But you can hear it from across the store. It has like a whistle, like "Hey, type of thing, the kids go after it. They just run down there. They want to check it out, and it has vision. It can see someone standing in front of it, and you can interact with it. But it'll just wander around the aisles. Hey, are you looking for something? Can I help you? Type of thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
I think at Target it's after hours, but like I was very impressed with its like ability to sense objects. Like it came right close to me and then stopped and then waited to decide, like for me to decide where to go. You know.
Sura, hopefully you were in the sporting goods section and you had a baseball bat just in case.
No, man, you know me. I'm like, all right, how long are you going to hold still that maybe I can get around and check you out? Like, just want to get in the guts of that thing and figure out what's wrong.
Let me push it.
That's right.
What happens if I do this?
Somebody be a lookout. I'm going to open the thing.
And then this keeper like came up and was just staring at me, and I was like, oh man, now the human's being judgy. I got to move on.
Judgy human. Hey, actually, Sura, do you go over to like UTC much? The like that big outdoor shopping thing they have there?
Yeah, I find myself there occasionally. I try to avoid.
Because there, I saw this. It's the Sentry robot. It looks kind of like a pod from I don't know, the Fly. You know, the pod is sort of this egg-shaped pod. Anyway, it's a robot
from which the fly emerges.
Well, from which the fly emerges, but this is. I say it's just this,
scary,
like
man.
It looks right. That's right. Well, to some kids, it was right. I mean, this thing. This looks like a bullet that's like up on end, cruising around. It doesn't have omnidirectional wheels, so it's moving like a tank. And it was a security robot. It had cameras and LiDAR and
I haven't seen that yet.
on all directions. It had a basically a 360 camera, and it was just cruising around that mall. This is like at 7:00 in the evening, you know, so people are coming out of dinner and whatnot. But it had this sound to it, like you could hear it even through noise and other like people talking. This whoa whoa whoa.
Oh.
This is cruising through the like Night Rider's coming. No, it's just a Sentry robot. Yeah.
I wonder if they like make that noise more, you know, like apparent because of the fact that there are humans milling about. Like I wonder if its default state is to not be so noisy. They just ramp it up so that you're aware, like hyper aware that there's something around you, right? I don't know very much about this robot, but I'm assuming mobile robots should have some sort of associated sound.
Yeah, it was kind of like if you like in my neighborhood, there's a lot of electric cars in my neighborhood, and they like people play with the settings on what you want the thing to sound like, because like by law it has to make some sort of sound, and so people, you know, sometimes they've got the crazy sound on there. It just sounds like something futuristic, but yeah, it's probably it, right? So just kind of in the background, you're thinking, okay, electric car, you know, be on the lookout. This thing could be cruising by. But they, you know, I sat and basically read a book, you know, after dinner, and I was like, you know, because they've got all that seating area on the outside. I was like, yeah, I'm just going to chill out here, and that thing, like, nobody tending to it. I'm sure there's somebody in a security office that's got access to the cameras. They're seeing all that, but it's just kind of cruising around. Yeah, with all this, like in San Francisco, they've had issues with smash and grab. Stanford Mall up in Northern California, which is a very similar mall to that one, totally outdoors, right? I think they use the same robot there, from what I've heard. But yeah, I was just curious if you'd seen that thing. It's definitely too big to steal.
Right? But it's
There's no way you're
interesting.
gonna steal this thing.
What you just said is interesting because it's not like robots haven't been around, right, for a while, but like they've always been in a different form. Like I don't know why when you were talking, I immediately thought of like Chuck E. Cheese and they're like moving robots on the stage.
Oh, the
remember
animatronics.
Yeah. Like,
Yes.
There's always been this desire, like, to have some form of robotics around us for some sort of purpose, whether it's entertainment. We're just now moving into things that we need, like service or, you know, janitorial.
You brought up a great point, Sir, about the auditory signaling. You think about it in a simple context. We interact with it. It's not robotics, but think about the EMS, fire trucks, ambulance, police. Over the course of a few years, I've heard their audible signals going different ways, different audible sounds, which are very attractive to the ear. Even if you're cranking up, DJ Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in your car, you can still hear that through the windows that are rolled up. And it's really weird the way it sounds, but you're picking it up and you're going, where's it coming from? Where's it coming from? And you can hear it. Even though it's not super, super loud, you can still hear it. So I think that's a big part of it too.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Good point. Yeah, that's true. Every once in a while, an episode of Cops will come on, and you'll hear the sound of that siren from the inside of the car. It's actually sometimes very different from the outside of the car, right? They're using low tones, right? So when it's in that more isolated environment, they're actually kind of sprinkling on like lower tones instead of doing this whole, like in Europe, I getting used to that what they use in Germany and France.
Different.
And then you go to like Turkey or you go to Ireland, Ireland, theirs sound more like ours, the siren sound. So it's like everybody.
It's funny though, like we were talking about standardization, like why can't humanity have like a standard across the line of what to look into, right? Like I was thinking like every sign language is different, like it's depending on which region you are. Now we've got like sounds that alert us to emergencies that are different. Can't we just all come together as a species and decide what's gonna like freak us out and get our attention?
I don't know. Maybe it's just an extension of our spoken languages,
That's
right?
true.
It's like, oh well, we don't want to standardize those, so why would we want to be different on these other fronts too?
Well,
it's like when they were trying
because
to
it's
adopt
Halloween.
Euro, that's what it reminds me of.
Oh yeah.
Because of the day
my
it is.
My choice marks, they're gone.
I like my pounds.
I think because of the day it is, I think we could all agree that clowns in a sewer are pretty damn scary.
I'm so scared of clowns.
See? That's universal.
That's universal.
Well, I guess there's an idea. Just come from around the corner in a big clown outfit.
So let's move on.
Even Bozo the clown. Jeff knows Bozo.
Any person or entity that hides behind that much makeup and ugly hair has to be feared.
Well, he didn't even. Half the time in the movie, he wasn't even the latest Joker movie. He wasn't even in the clown outfit.
Oh,
right?
Joker's got mental issues. He doesn't scare me, but like her daughter dressing up.
okay.
Right.
Oh yeah.
He's scary.
Yeah.
So the mentally insane don't scare you. It's the people who just put on makeup.
I mean, I can
Okay,
suss
got it.
that out, where that came from and the childhood trauma
Yeah,
associated
more like
with it. The demonic I cannot.
yeah. Okay, we're talking like Sweet Tooth in the video game Twisted Metal. That would be that's the creepy clown right there. Sweet Tooth.
Did you ever play that game, Dark Souls, Demon Souls? Oh my god, it's so scary. The whole time I've got all the lights on and I'm like shaking trying to play it. It's so scary. You should try to play it, Mike. It's an experience. And then when you die, like you lose your soul and then you have to go back to the beginning and try to find your soul. It's really freaky.
Let's check it out. Well, I need to test out this television that I got delivered during the last show.
Oh, that reminds me, 3D TVs. Like, I think those kinds of things, it's really hard because Apple does a really good job of making things just accessible, right? You turn on the iPhone and like you're plugged in, you're ready to go. There's nothing you have to like really learn. It's intuitive to what you're already sort of trying to do. 3D TVs, if it's going to be installed in my house and it turns my whole living room into a 3D, like, experience.
Like a Tony Stark thing?
Yeah, like pop-up holograms, it's all good. I don't have to try. I'm down. Gotta put on glasses and do some shit. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, and some of them had shutters in them, so you had to recharge them. They ran on
I gotta
batteries.
go get snacks
and
and turn things off. It's just no.
This is like most of the things, the packaging and things that came with your TV and all the accessories and mounting and cable management crap. It ends up in a drawer never to be seen. Same with these glasses. I think I found those in some folks' drawers where all the leftover remotes end up. And that's just, it was a cool concept, cool idea, but I have to say that that's why I brought up the augmented reality and personal computing thing, Oculus or things like that. I mean,
But what happened to
okay,
Google Glass? Like that was hyped and was going to
I,
be awesome, and then like didn't two people get like beat up and those got stolen, and then I never heard about it again.
I don't know.
well, I was in that. That's when I was actually working down at that Mountain View at that time when that was like coming. They were working on stuff and looking into it. It was just the technology at the time just could not support the vision of the product.
But there's things similarly to that, right? Like Google Glass is going to revolutionize how we interact, right, with the digital media that we see on your computer or whatnot. Now we've got like Oculus, we've got Zoho Lens, we've got HoloLens, but none of them actually take off because they're so difficult to integrate, right? Oculus is an immersive experience. I can't be doing anything else except that, and that's pure gaming. But the other stuff that you're trying to do work with, like Zoho Lens and HoloLens,
you can see reality while you're also having
but they're
the
so
screen. And you're right.
Yeah.
But that's the one that could have mass appeal, though, is the Google Glass concept. I don't think the concept died. It was just that product did. And I mean, you've seen different variations of it. Have you seen the Ray-Ban glasses, the Facebook Ray-Ban or Meta? It's a partnership between Meta and Ray-Ban. I haven't actually tried
them on, but I heard about them. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, well, it's a camera and it's got speakers. So it's got these. It's not like they're speakers that kind of project the sound into your earlobe. It's odd. It feels like you've got headphones on, but you don't. You're just they're doing something and focusing the audio perfectly. But it's like, it's a camera you can have. Basically, it's a social media engine on as sunglasses, and I mean that's caught on, I think, because it's like always there. You can use it. You can sort of your first person point of view perspective, but is it all that practical? It doesn't give you any information other than what's said through the audio, and when it's loud around you can't really hear the audio anyway. So it's Google Glass, like to be able to do that whole thing with the lens where you kind of just see you can like look and it tracks your eye, packing all that technology into that little box that they put on the side of it. I think they'll get there. I really do. I think somebody's going to do that eventually, and that could take off.
And I know there's people that don't like Apple, but I feel like out of everyone, Apple's probably going to do it the best, correctly.
Oh yeah. Have you tried a Vision Pro?
Not yet. No.
It's pretty wicked. I mean, for a first round product, I mean that is wild. Like you actually have a real computer, like your whole MacBook.
We need sponsors. Send us Vision Pro to try.
We go try.
We'll all end up just wearing it on the podcast.
Yeah, that's a challenge. Like it's covering your face, but you have an avatar. So it's just we would be four avatars talking with each other.
Oh boy.
We're already avatars of ourselves.
Yeah.
Or at least caricatures, yes.
Yeah. Well,
talk about technology which was better than what replaced it. This is going back a way. Beta was better than VHS, but guess what won?
Oh, yeah.
VHS. So it's kind of like, even the best technology doesn't get adopted. It gets replaced or I don't know. Maybe it was easier to release VHS. I'm not sure the whole story, the backstory, but Beta was better.
Something about like
probably
the
was
conglomerate got together and pushed one forward.
Manufacturers, yep. In Japan and a lot of those were built in Japan and Taiwan, and there was a big conglomerate that made that happen. They're like, because that's the one trick pony problem, right? Sony was the main sponsor for Betamax. And Betamax carried on. Don't forget, most of the TV production industry used Betamax.
That's true.
So like your football games, all that was done on Beta because it was superior. I mean, it had better technology in every way, but it wasn't for the masses. Blu-ray, and HD DVD. Now, those were basically the same thing, but talk about a short-lived one, right? That was, at least VHS lasted through my whole childhood and most of my early adult And then
Yeah.
DVDs sort of kicked
To be
in.
fair,
But
that's when
I mean,
DVDs were going out of style. So is it Blu-ray's fault, or is it the fact that we stopped using DVDs? You know,
Streaming comes
like
maybe.
online, and
Yeah,
it's
the
streaming
whole
over.
came
disc
online,
thing.
and I forgot about sticking something
It,
into
it
It's
was.
something
over.
and push
It's
it
like, when
play.
was the
You know,
last time you
that's
bought something on a disc?
right.
You know,
Now
oh,
Right.
it's off.
let me
Even
go.
Netflix doesn't
music,
have it. I'll try
everything.
Hulu. I'll try Amazon. I'll try Apple.
Do you have a collection of DVDs, Elizabeth? Do you have like a?
Well, yes, I did. I did.
Yeah, you did. You got,
Now
but
they're
you don't have them
coasters.
anymore.
No.
No. Yeah, I got rid of mine too.
Actually, I think I have some, but yeah, never been used again.
I tried to donate them, and my sister was like, "Why?
Who's gonna
Who's
take
gonna?
it?
You see
Who's
how
gonna get it?"
records have come back?
Ah,
The
records are back.
vinyl
Long
records,
playing,
Yeah.
yeah, vinyl
which
records.
before, everybody was getting rid of them, and
Taylor
now
Swift
there
has
are
a
stores
record.
that you can
Yeah.
go and buy, even new ones that are coming out. It's quite interesting that trend
The
because
reason?
you
Yeah. What
didn't.
is the reason?
There's a reason, because we're getting older, and those liner notes, we couldn't read them anymore, so we had to put them in a large vinyl format so old people can read them. Plus, they gave you better stuff, man. Who can remember? I mean, Mike, you can remember Kiss Alive, the double album. I think it was a double album. It
Oh,
had
yeah.
a booklet. It had stuff, man. You
Oh,
could
yeah.
look into it, read all the bios, the roads, that kind of. I mean, it was just classic stuff.
Swag was next level back in the day. Like
Yes.
you got real good stuff for a relatively low price.
Now you get nothing.
No, you get
A monthly charge for the streaming service. That's
you
what
get
you
a tab on iTunes that says, "Oh, extras."
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Behind the scenes with Robert Downey Jr. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
If it's not a T-shirt or a hat, though, is it useful?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I have definitely. Okay, trade shows. We've all been to trade shows. I mean, how much stuff have you kept from trade shows?
All of it,
I'm
because my
curious.
kid walks around like every day. I see her in like Dynamic Devices,
All right.
T-Can, Hamilton. I'm like, oh, cool.
All
She's
right.
wearing his pajamas, advertising on our trips. I sent Kelly a picture of the Dynamic Devices shirt on Oahu, basically, because she was wearing it.
You've got special access, Sura, because I have never seen Dynamic Devices swag except for maybe a hat. Jeff had a hat on one time or something, but that was it.
Sponsor this podcast.
Like this episode is sponsored by Dynamic Devices and the Lynx powerful liquid handling.
Variable volume pipetting.
Swag available only while supplies last.
Hit the like button now for your chance to win a free hat. Okay, we're not doing any
Hey, I'll wear
contests here, at least
Hamilton
not yet.
t-shirts if they send them, but they're not sending
When
them.
it's gone, it's gone.
That's right. Welcome to
There
the
you go.
podcast.
He's got the
We're
cup.
glad to have you
Where's
with
my
us.
cup? Come on, Hamilton.
It's my favorite coffee cup. My local friends. Yeah. Yeah, they even have robotics like on there.
Nice.
Personalized robotic. Yeah, swag. I when I moved, I did a big clean and just got rid of a lot of that swag. Well, I tried to keep, the stuff that stood out, the things that were every once in a while you get something that like really lasts, but usually it's just throwaway stuff.
Yeah, I stopped picking it up after a while unless I was actually going to keep it, because you end up with boxes of useless like dancing robots. Or
You need
something.
like extra luggage. Yeah. I know. Remember in Barcelona, Elizabeth? We like the guys like, here, why don't you take 4 mugs? That was awesome. They have cool stuff. It's Cooner. Remember that Cooner? Yeah, they had like.
I don't think
they
I've
had
ever
this,
bought
like,
a mug since I started going this last. My whole cupboard's
if you're in life science, you should
branded
never have to
mugs.
buy a coffee mug. Yeah, does Redisoft have coffee mugs? I don't have a Redisoft coffee.
No, we
Our
haven't
hats?
done that
we're
yet.
hat.
I
Joyce,
think that's on the.
we are thinking about it.
That would
They
be a
had that
good
cool
one.
sticker with the
We're
robot
working on it.
arm. I like that.
Yes, we had a sticker, yeah. And, well, we had safety glasses. What else did
I
we
remember
have?
those. Yeah.
Lanyards. We
pen.
had
Oh
lanyards
yeah, the
last
pens
year.
where the other side you can
Pens.
use on your tablet.
Yeah. So,
You still have your
Yes, I do.
What is that 3D
Nice.
printed?
It's a 3D,
Yes,
it's a
I
3D
do.
printed PF400.
I just don't have
Nice.
it close by, but I do have it.
So, yeah. Just to give you an idea of scale.
Non-moving. It's static. It doesn't move.
No, it doesn't have the moving joints. No, this is
Oh,
like a
that's too
first.
bad.
This was a first gen one. Yeah, it's even got some. We had some trouble with the material, but now we've got better ones. But
I
some
need a
set.
new one then.
Yeah, you need to go for the Brooksified version. Yeah. Well, good. Well, someday we'll just all just do this in augmented reality, and we don't have to worry about lighting or anything.
Wouldn't it be
like
funny
that.
to do one from inside the VR world of the Oculus? We all meet and do a podcast from in there. Is that too nerdy?
Oh my
That's too
goodness.
nerdy. I'm sorry.
No. If you could be the first ones to do it, you could tout that. The first ones to do it inside a virtual
Well, have you
world.
seen that
We
podcast
can change the
about,
environment.
the presidents? They're playing like Modern Warfare, but also talking. So it's like a podcast. We can totally do one of those.
Perfect. I will play the worst I've ever played in Modern Warfare if I'm talking while playing. But that's a skill in and of itself. Yeah. So, well, I think if maybe, right? I mean, let's start with doing a show on the road, which we've kicked around a little bit, right? You know,
Yeah.
speaking of shows on the road and opportunities to do so, I guess today is the last day of just thinking about events that are happening and coming up. Future Labs Live in Philadelphia is happening right now. I have not heard much from the road. I've seen a couple of posts on LinkedIn about that, but I went to the one in Basel. I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of events you can go to now. Like
Yes.
there's no between LRIG, Future Labs. There's actually two Future Labs. There's two different producers, I think.
I think so.
One is Terrapin. That's the one that's happening right now, happening in Philly. And then the other one is I can't think of the production company, but it's like Future Labs, something different. And then we got LRIG, we got ELRIG.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But-
there's a whole bunch.
Coming up next, though, San Diego,
Wait,
It's a little...
January.
my camera has blipped.
Sir's camera's gone mobile. Going
Sarah's
live from
flying off the
outside.
handle here.
Camera's good.
We touched on some of the technology that some of that hyped but failed, if you will. I don't want to say failed. That's such a bad word. Overhyped but didn't live up to promise. It probably still has some successes. But then how about those that were maybe not necessarily hyped, but then through the applications that they were designed for, legitimately designed for, performed pretty miraculous stuff. One of the things that comes to mind is the Colossus. I'm taking this from reference in the news cycle from, gosh, a few years ago now, when the Cathedral at Notre Dame in France had caught fire because of construction. They had the Colossus robot from Shark Robotics, which is a firefight. It's legit, just a straight up firefighting robot, and it is powerful. I can share a screenshot here so you guys can see. If I can close some things here.
No, we want to see your hundreds of tabs.
No, it was
Tab party.
another. Yeah. All right. So this is Colossus right here. So you can see it's got what would be a firefighting handle. This thing is a beast, and it has I mean, it was pretty awesome what it was doing, and you can see the options you have on it. You've got some sort of a spike pole or pike, or some sort of robot arm feature you can put on this. This is a different model, but you look at Colossus in general, there's a lot of options for it. Here we go. So here you got some turret, some large fan you can put on of it. So it's just a lot of options related to this. And it went into the fire. And these are some of the specs. I mean, look how heavy it is. It's a massive payload capacity is 1,700 pounds. It's a beast with 12 hours of operation with 6 removable batteries. So it's a pretty massive thing. They had a video of it here, but even this right here, you can see you can operate this thing from 1,000 feet away. So none of the firefighters, there were 400 firefighters on duty at this fire. So you can imagine 1 or 2 of these things just spraying this massive stream of water into those areas where it could put out the fire. It was a big help, and I think it probably saved a lot of the structure from the actual fire. Think about how old Notre Dame is. It was like a tinderbox. So the fact that this happened, they could deploy this pretty quickly was huge. So that is one of those less hyped but purpose-built robotics that just performs completely under pressure. So I think this is fantastic. I'd love to see more of this in the States. This is a French company. I'd love to see more of this stuff in the States for sure.
Yeah, Roman, the countryside of San Diego would prevent some wildfires from spreading.
Exactly. Yeah, I was just going to mention that. Think about these things in a wildland setting. You've got a line of firefighters behind these robots with 1,000 feet, or let's just say even 500 feet, and they're laying down ground coverage of water just moving through there. You know, you've got air assault from above, you've got ground assault from these things. I think your manpower comes down a little bit, so you're not having to use human robots, if you will, to clear ground, that kind of stuff. So different ways to attack it, but I really think this is pretty cool.
That is cool. Yeah.
That is very cool.
And the options they have to attach to it. Looks like the one with the robot arm, the articulated robot arm, you could use that for like bomb disposal or.
Yeah, they have demining robots as well,
Okay.
which was pretty awesome. So, you know, there's lots of applications. I'm sticking with the ground-based stuff, and these are tracked robots, not bipedals or quadpedals.
Right.
But I'm sticking with the ground track-based and tank types. Yeah, so they are purpose-built. I think where we're running into a lot of issues on the bipedals is, it can be anything to anybody. Well, that's a lot to ask. It's not purpose-built. It's a built robot for some purpose. We just don't know.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. The expectation, right? The visual, when you see a bipedal robot that's standing up, you expect human-like capability out of it, which, you know, there's not that much, but when it's a dedicated purpose-built robot like that, it totally makes sense. And again, it's an application that pays the bills, right? You can sell that robot into a variety of applications and then do research on new stuff as you want. But go ahead.
No, I just like the idea that we're thinking of these focused like robots for certain, aspects that are dangerous to human beings. Mm-hmm. And I think it provides a nice area where, we talked about this before. Do robots and automation take away people's jobs? Well, this is just a new area that could, use an expanded skill set from the people in those fields, right? So maybe it augments our current firefighting force. It also allows the firefighters another opportunity to learn the skills to perhaps train or work and program these robots, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Isn't there another firefighting robot? Like it's an aerial thing that picks up a hose and like goes up?
There could be. I was in my research. I wasn't. I was trying to stick to some that were pretty popular that I know of, staying on the land, water, and air type of thing. So I'm sure there's probably others. Like you said, Mike, if it pays the bills and someone has one and it can pay more bills, there's going to be competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the fire, it seems like almost, if you go to a town, no matter how the budget may not be it's the same from town to town, but the fire trucks and the fire department and almost every town I've been to always seems to get a decent, as they should, a decent budget for equipment that's going to work, and which obviously they save lives, and that's that's
Yeah.
a good thing. But yeah, so when you're talking about like human, like the human, how to refer to humans when you're talking about robots, I don't know if there's somebody who I met one time and they referred to, I just said it like straight face. Oh yeah, so these meat robots take the plate from over from. I mean,
It's true.
just so we got meat robots over here. They work on that, and then we got the real robots over there. They were saying that with a totally straight face. I'm just like, that's awesome.
Meat robots.
I've heard like meat suits before.
Yeah. What? How do the robots talk when we're not around?
Right, exactly.
What do they say? Yeah.
What are they saying?
Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah, I'm going to. I realized I can do that. I can do the share from my computer, but I'd have to shut this software down to be able to do it because it's got to enable the screen sharing, restart the software. So next time
Oh, cool.
I will be ready.
Okay.
And I will share my screen.
But that was
too.
cool to take a look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, like I was doing research for the show, knowing we were discussing some things about technology, hype technology. I was thinking about the Spot from Boston Dynamics, and one kind of cool application. It seems trivial at times, but then someone pointed out, well, that would be doing something else. I'll tell you that in a second. But I thought, how cool would it be to have a Spot robot with a gripper arm on it, which you can get, going around in the medians, picking up the trash and putting it in the bin. Just boom, 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 boom. Walking. I mean, if you got 12-hour battery life, that's a shift. All right.
Yep.
But then someone pointed out, well, what are the county jails going to do? I'm like, oh, fantastic. So we got to be worried about the county jail people.
Humans
It's like,
can figure something else out.
Rather than picking trash.
You'll have to get paid $1 an hour to do something else.
That reminds me of
Right,
the Amazon like robot, right? That just walks around with this big screen. So I got one of the beta versions around my house, and I'm like, what use are you really? Like, you could put a drink on it and take it to another room, or you could play Netflix and have Netflix follow you around, which I don't know if that's the kind of life I want to live.
Yeah. Yeah, I already, like, I've been steadily adopting different little home automation bits using HomeKit, right? The Apple HomeKit. Now, I also tried the Google Home. I tried the Amazon. And, you know, the devices at first, like you try a few things out, it's got this sort of novelty to it. But to actually make it useful, that's taken, like, for me, it's like over the past 5 years of experimentation. This works, that doesn't work.
Oh, I love home
you know,
automation. Alexa and my
it's
lights
like
is awesome.
Yeah, no, I've got the lights dialed in, but that took a while. And then the Home Hub concept in the Apple ecosystem, that didn't work out very well because these devices would fail to communicate with the cloud, which means
Yeah.
it can't do.
Amazon's further along than Apple in this area.
Yeah, but I wasn't going to do the Amazon one. I couldn't swallow it. It was like they were. The Alexa started having a conversation with me, like I said in the chat.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like,
you did say.
would you like to try out our new AI conversational unit? I'm like, no, I really don't. I'm like, oh, how are you doing today, Mike? What's going
But
on?
they
I'm
take
like,
it. You know, they
why?
take your feedback. They're like, can I tell you a joke? And I'm like, no, I just want the recipe. I don't want your joke.
Do you understand Office Space tone? Why don't you go ahead and
yeah,
self-destruct?
I'm going to need you to get the hell out of my house.
Hey, kids, I've got some new field hockey pucks for you.
But it was awesome.
Exactly.
You know, like when my daughter was younger, they've got the kids version, and it was like reading her stories and like engaging and, you know, can I tell you a knock knock joke? And, you know, like that's why I
Really?
that's why I had her dad, because he's funny. I'm not into like those kinds of things. So it's good that Alexa is providing that for her. I'm like, go to bed, and Alexa's like, let me tell you a knock knock joke.
Before you go to bed.
You know you're in
Halloween, it's
trouble.
like, what about a scary story?
Co-parenting with Alexa.
Yeah, you know you're in trouble
That's an
Yes.
episode.
when you ask your daughter and you say, "Can I put you to bed, honey?" "No, it's okay. I've got Alexa to do that."
Totally.
Oh,
Turns off her lights
crap.
for her, plays her music
Can I read your
list.
story? Don't need you.
Can I get a good
Sorry,
night?
Mom, you're not
I know.
needed. Can I get a hug? No.
But you can make the bed after I wake up.
Yeah, don't have that robot yet.
They will love that. A robot that cleans the house instead of mom.
Right?
Picks after them.
That's why we have kids in the first place. Those are the meat robots to clean the
meat
house.
robots.
That's what my mom
Meat
used to
robots.
say. She's like, I have 4 kids. Why do I need to do any work?
Exactly.
I don't need a house cleaner. I don't need to do any work. I don't know. Elizabeth, do your kids clean your house?
Well, I would say my daughter does. My
Okay.
son is a different story. We have to argue with him to do it. So
Yeah, it's always going to be a
But-
discussion. Yeah.
yes, but my daughter does clean a lot, actually. Too much.
It's
She
just,
goes
it's,
Can I
after
borrow
us, picking
her?
things up.
Mine's the opposite.
Yeah, no,
We'll switch
she's awesome
kids.
in that way.
internship in San Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll send mine to Canada. You'll send yours to the US. It'll be great.
Exchange program. That
Exchange,
works for
yeah,
us.
Yeah.
Having trouble with your own kids cleaning your house? No problem. Swap them.
This-
clean somebody else's house.
Outsourcing, Mike.
It's a reality TV show. Kid swap.
Kid swap. Yeah,
He'll
your
tell
kid
you
does a
how it
great
goes.
job on my lawn. Yeah, well, he's never done my lawn, so you're getting that's amazing. The only thing he's done on the lawn is torn it up. Yeah. Well, outsourcing your kids. There you go.
That's a new
Well, I mean,
thing.
that was I remember like in the 80s and 90s, like I don't know. I'm not paying attention to it much, but I don't, even when I'm talking to friends, I don't hear about like exchange programs, right? We heard about that a ton back in the 80s and 90s, but I just don't hear that coming up in storytelling. Oh, my kid's going to college. Yeah, you hear all that stuff. But I have not heard like exchange programs as much. You know, I know some people I graduated from high school with ended up studying in, 1 year of their high school was in Sweden, or something like that. I don't know. Is that stuff still going on? Like people
It
still
is,
do?
but I don't
Well,
hear about it either.
yeah.
Like Education First has a nice program, and if you open up your home, they'll like have placements for folks trying to come and study. But I think the requirements are stringent, like maybe more so than before.
Okay.
So I don't hear about a lot of people doing it either. I certainly am too much of a helicopter parent to send my kid off to Sweden. But yeah.
We had one. My oldest daughter between seventh and eighth grades, one of those ranges, middle school, right? We had one from Guatemala actually, so that was a 6-month deal.
Cool.
So yeah, and that gal, we kept in contact, her and her family. She's traveled to all over the place. We met up with her again. She was in northern Indiana, so we went up a few, like a year or two later. She was in northern Indiana. So we went up there and we had lunch with her again. We got to see her again. So it's
Super
kind of
cool.
weird that she was back in this area, but she's traveled all over the world. Her family has the means to do so, but it was a good experience for sure.
And your
Yeah.
kids, Elizabeth, have gotten to go to Ecuador, right? For a
Yeah,
long period
I
of time.
sent them there for a couple of years. Then they had the full experience and also learning the language. That
Yeah.
was
Immersion.
Yeah,
awesome
totally.
because they're fully they're proficient with the language and now they can read and write and speak Spanish. So it was a good experience, but also it was kind of stressful because the pandemic started when they
Oh
were
yeah, getting
So
them
they
back,
would-
right?
yeah, bringing them back was a whole trouble.
Oh,
And
wow.
the story there is just, yeah, it was tough. But overall, I think they learned so much just from changing environments, seeing other kind of things in the city and how people live that opened their mind. I wish, they can go also to other places like Europe. I was thinking for Isabella right now because she's taking a gap year that maybe she can go to Belgium where my family is too, that she can do some traveling and learning as well. So I'm contemplating that because I find that, traveling really enhances your knowledge and gives you a lot of more different views of the world. So, and people as well.
100%.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't think I will do an exchange program because if I don't know the family, I will not really want to send them there. But if it's with somebody that I know and trust, I am 100% on that.
All right.
Elizabeth, you're too old for the program.
No, she's saying I can send my kid over. She just said it. You all heard it.
There you go.
It's now for prosperity.
Yep. You can do a U.S. Canada exchange.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the pandemic, right? I remember a lot that those challenges coming up with being able to go. How do you get into the country? The restrictions and navigating that was very different from what we're used to, and just being able to buy a ticket and go somewhere. But I remember the speaking of technology that didn't make it, or I mean, you can still kind of do this, but I was reading about it. There hasn't really been a replacement for House Party. House Party was like a one of a kind. I mean, and the company that had it, they just decided, you know what, get rid of it. We're just going to kill it, even though I guess they couldn't find a profit model or something like that. Or I figured somebody would have bought that. But I mean,
what the hell is that?
Oh, House Party? Oh, it was just, so imagine you have this screen, you see 4 boxes, right? Well, you can have up to 8 boxes in House Party. And the idea is you have rooms, and rooms will show up on your list if you know at least one person in another room. So at any given time, you hop on House Party, you'll see a room. And let's say, Elizabeth's in a room, and I go, okay, I'll just go over there. Well, there might be 6 other people that I don't know, because it'll be me, the person I know, and potentially up to 6 other people you don't know. But that's how it's kind of like mingling. But during the pandemic, a group of folks in San Diego, I think, I don't know whose idea it was originally to do the kind of House Party, but it was Jessica. I guess it was Jessica. I think maybe Jessica started. Jessica and Mary started.
I remember
Yes,
doing
they
one.
started. We were using Zoom, right?
Yeah, you were on one, and we never saw you again.
I was just like, it's hard to get stoked about those,
Right. Well, yeah,
it's different than having a beer and being able to knock shoulders with people,
Exactly.
No,
and
I
as
think
soon as
for
it
me,
opened up, people did that.
Yeah. No, but for me it was like a lifesaver because I was here and at my place on my own. My kids were in Ecuador, and I was kind of everything was closed. So it was great to get to see people, and we chatted for every week. So it was so great.
Yeah, that was fun. That was
so much fun. Yeah. Because otherwise I was going crazy.
See, I was the opposite.
Essentially,
I'm such an introvert. I was like, finally, society's not going to judge me for not wanting to go anywhere. Everybody can't go anywhere.
Yeah, right. Now you actually can't, and there's all the bar, everything's closed, and it sort of had a transition period. There was people would go to a bar or an outdoor venue with a mask on, and then they'd sit down, and then you could take the mask off, and then they'd call up on House Party, and so it sort of have a hybrid, and then eventually the House Party just died. It was done. Everybody was going live, and I was going down to San Diego every couple months to do one in person, which was fun. So
they're still doing it in person though. It's great.
Oh yeah, Mary's
a big community
Mary's
now.
happy hour. Absolutely, it's a staple. It's probably 100 members, maybe 20 or so, 15 to 20 show up each time. Yeah, I was at the last one at Little Miss Brewing.
I love that brewery.
That was fun. It's such a dump, but it's so cool.
But it's fun because it feels like a hole in the wall,
It's such an awesome
you
dump.
discovered it even though you haven't, and people know about it.
Well, and so we had an Uber driver that took Nick and I over there, right? Because we decided, let's Uber it, be on the safe side, of course. And so we Uber over there, and the driver this is like, gal in her mid-30s. She's like, where are we going? Is this, what?
It's because you're
Are
so
we going to a
tall.
bar?
She's like, where's this guy
Yeah,
taking
right.
me?
We're like, Nick's like, that's totally cool. It's fine. It's Little Miss Brewing. You'll be surprised. Then we're like going by semi trucks. We look like we're at the port of Oakland, as you're cruising through this like dump in Miramar. And then you finally get to the end, and there's this guy like slumped over his bicycle with a beer. It's like, okay, well, see, told you it was a bar. She's like, okay, cool. See you later, bye.
She's missing out, man.
Yeah, this wasn't her jam. It wasn't her jam.
Are we doing pick of the week this week, or did we already show the robots and that's it?
Yeah, we could do a pick of the week. I don't, So, Jeff, you got anything in mind? Or?
I do. I scrambled to find something. I always try to find something that I have, so I don't want to buy anything just for the pick of the week. Because if I did, I would buy it and I'd take it back tomorrow.
That's actually a great idea.
It's not a bad idea. New tech until we get a sponsor that's given this technology, I'll just take it back.
Sponsors for pick of the week.
So,
that's even better.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So what I have is I have firearms in my house. But I have a trainer. Okay. Now this is called the Mantis Blackbeard. So this is what would be basically, it's a battery. This would be considered the magazine. Okay. So you can see it's got the little clips there, or the power there. Mm-hmm. So this goes into the area there. Now this is the actual laser. It's not on because there's no battery to it. It's over there, but this laser would come out, and this is the trigger mechanism and the handle that goes inside your weapon. Okay, so you replace what's there with this. All right, and then this would actually go up into the magazine. Sorry about that. This would go up in there, and then they two would make contact. Right, laser would go on. So what you can do with this, it will actually, you can pull the trigger and it will reset the trigger for you. And then I lost them. They're gone. You have actual targets, and then there's an app that you can practice on, counting your score and so on and so forth. My oldest and I would practice in the house because it's relatively far enough away you could do that from the kitchen to the front door. We just put a target on the front door. She kicked my ass a couple times. I'm like, what the hell is this? So, but yeah, you do it through the app, and then we put the app close to the target so we can hear it. Oh, you hit the 10. It'll say 10, or you hit 7, and it'll say 7. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool.
It's a mobile game?
It keeps you from having to.
It's a
What's
mobile
that?
game then.
Well, it's not necessarily a game. It's a mobile app from Mantis, so you can tie it together.
Cool.
Yeah, you scan the QR code. Here you are. Sorry about this. So you've got this code on the targets themselves. Yeah, and it says, okay, well, that's what you've got, and you've got different things around here. There's different types, of course, but yeah, it goes through the app. And you can practice without having to waste any rounds, because those are pretty expensive.
They add up.
And range fees are expensive too. So,
yeah. It's one thing we have plenty of here in the state of Nevada.
Ranges?
There are plenty of gun ranges here in Nevada. Yeah. All you can eat. Yeah, all types, indoor, outdoor. Well, you got lots of space.
All you can eat?
That's what he said.
Come to the buffet. Shoot your weapons.
Bring the whole family. It's a family affair. Yeah, that's right. It's like a buffet. Yeah. All right. Cool. Fancy.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I have a pick of the week. It's like an ecosystem for your phone. So I just got my phone aged out, so I got a new phone. This one has Apple Intelligence. We'll see what that's all about.
Ooh. You feel smarter?
It can anticipate things you won't even think about in your lifetime. It knows. But anyway, there's this case system from this company called Peak Design. They're out of San Francisco, so they're based in San Francisco, and they take pride in saying that they don't have I think they have one store in San Francisco and One's somewhere else. They're not a big retail shop, so everything's online. So if you really want to touch and feel this stuff, you kind of just have to take their word for it on their website or REI. You can go to REI; they carry some of this stuff, but they have this system where, for me, I like the MagSafe when it first came out, right? The ability to charge stuff and the ability to attach it to things. However, it doesn't have any positive locking, you know. So at the gym, a MagSafe thing that holds it on the handlebar for the you know, Peloton or a elliptical or whatever. If I bump it, gone. Phones, see ya. I broke a screen doing that one time. So this one has positive locking. So if you lock it into something, you can, you know, you get a magnet that holds it in place, but you also have a physical locking mechanism. So if you bump it, it's not just going to pop off. But that's just the first part of it. The other part is they make a series of accessories. And now that we're podcasters, I think this comes in handy. You can use this thing. It's a little tripod. And you can use that for viewing things.
Oh.
It'll hold it in portrait. It'll hold it in landscape,
Cool.
right? So you can use it as a
Cool.
stand for it. And yeah, just magnetic. And you can just leave it. Technically, I think this is outside the design parameters. This is my wallet. And I can now stack that on. You've got basically a self-contained, you know, wallet, tripod, all in one, or you can just take the phone as it is. And then also for photography, I don't generally leave this connected all the time, but they make camera straps too, this company, and they've got a tie down here. So you can take this off if you want and just unclip it, right, and put the camera strap away. But if you're out, you know, sightseeing and you want to, you know, have something secure, and it's also cut proof. So the Barcelona Express won't get you, right, Elizabeth? In Barcelona, infamous for its pickpockets, and just taking stuff from you. Just ask my mom; she had her phone stolen in Barcelona, right out of a subway station. Yeah. So anyway, it's a system. It's one of those things like a system, but I've had it now for 4 years, and I've gone through. This is now the third phone to use it. It's just a matter of getting another case for the phone, right? Other than that, the rest of the stuff they've kept it standard. They haven't changed anything.
Nice.
So that's it. It's the Peak Design mobile. It's under peakdesign.com, and then they have this section for mobile with a whole bunch of different accessories. Like I've got a mount here on the Peloton. See if I can.
The links will be in the description, right, Mike?
Yeah, links will be in the description.
No affiliate program, trust me.
Automate. And so here's the positive logging. So this is what's sitting on the Peloton, and you can, I mean, that's not going anywhere, right? You can.
Nice.
So motorcycle or any kind of.
Yeah, my brother lost a couple
vehicle.
phones on the motorcycle. He'd love that.
Oh.
I was like,
That's
what
a
happened to your
rough go.
phone? He's like, it fell. I'm like, well, pick it up. He's like, no. I was on the motorcycle. It fell.
At 70 miles an hour, and that's not happening.
That freeway is not
Pieces.
going to be too kind to that. And another like little design trick, and again, they tout themselves as a design house. I thought this was cool. So this thing, the ball that holds this tripod piece in, right? That's going to get loose after a while, which it does. Like mine. And what do you need to do? You need to tighten it. So what do? They actually magnetically included the tool. It's part of it.
That's cool.
Wow.
You can just tighten it, right?
They thought of everything.
They really did. I give them. I like good design. Is no matter if it's something simple, is always that's a hobby for me. It's like looking for good design. So that's my pick. Sura.
I don't have anything this week. Sorry.
Books. You read a lot of books, so just have a stack of books. Like, pick it
I'm reading the book, The Filmmaker's Guide to the Future. So it looks at all the classic films and some new films and talks about how technologies impact society and what we can ascertain from these movies on their impact. It's pretty cool, actually. I have to do, like, I'm watching Jurassic Park again because it talks about Jurassic Park. And that's a classic, how technology goes bad. But I forgot that quote that, like, oh no, we're letting engineers be in charge. Can't go well. So I think it's an interesting book. And the guy who wrote it, like, he's pretty dynamic in his storytelling. So I recommend that. It's on my Kindle, or I would show it to you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, Kindle. So I mean, Kindle. That's a
Kindle
technology
app.
that's gone right,
Yeah.
right? Or Kindle
Yeah.
app. Yeah. But I really I like the app, but every time somebody shows me a Kindle or and I see that Paperwhite, that is a lot easier to look at, I
For
have to say.
sure.
And it does have a purpose.
My life is very much my phone, right? Like you showed the wallet connecting to your phone. My wallet's digital.
Yeah.
I
Oh
don't
yeah,
carry anything. I even use the Real
just
ID
like
app for my
everything.
driver's license. So I don't even carry my driver's license anymore. So the books are on
Yeah.
there. So I like the actual Kindle with the paper white, right, background, but I think I like everything being inclusive to my phone, so I only have to carry that.
Yeah, one-stop shop. Yeah, you can only carry so many
Yeah.
gadgets, things, and whatnot. But yeah, for what it is, if you can get used to the light, I think the screens, in general, the non-Kindle screens are getting better over time, so they're not as hard on your
And you
eyes.
can get films for your like iPads and phones that simulate like paper, which is nice for when
Yeah.
I'm writing on it, but it also helps with that distortion of the light coming out.
One of my favorite. That's another favorite accessory. The pencil.
Pencil,
Is a good one.
yes.
Stylus.
The new
Pencil.
one's awesome from Apple too.
Yeah, magnetic charges automatically. You know,
And you
connects.
can
You
get
can
that
plug it
tip
into
that
any.
makes it feel like a pencil on the paper screen cover, then you're
Yeah,
set.
yeah. No more paper. Until you're like, oh, I forgot to charge last night. So that's the.
And then it's like
I've been
a
in a.
paperweight
Yes,
at that point.
that is the
Yeah.
I
This
remember
is
this one guy
useless.
in a meeting was totally leading into it. He's like, "Oh, check this out! I got something to show you. This is an awesome package. This cool notes-taking app." And then it cracks it open. It's like, "Oh, its battery's dead."
Real cool, dude.
Snap! Next week, tomorrow. I'll show you
yeah.
Or
tomorrow.
the internet's
I'll
bad.
show you what I have.
And
So I don't know if
that.
you've heard of this, the Remarkable.
Oh,
Oh, that's a
no.
good one
So
too.
I got it because most of my peers from the tech, from the executive group, they recommend it because I have a pile of notes that I take all the time. So this is great because I can take notes when I'm, in meetings and everything, and I can write on it because I like writing rather than typing on the computer. The problem is the battery. So when I forget to charge it,
Yeah.
that's when things go down, and I'm like, okay, that
So, Elizabeth, do those notes go to a cloud somewhere? Some account?
yes, they go to a
Okay.
cloud, so you can download, and then also you can send them via email or
All right.
And it's
That's
called
cool.
Remarkable.
Remarkable, yeah. It's pretty cool actually, and it looks like white paper.
That's
Yes,
cool. Yeah.
it writes also like it's very thin. It's really easy to carry it with you, and I love it because I went from carrying like notebooks or papers to something that is like much easier. So
Very cool.
yeah, it's very useful for me.
And this
I always
is
am taking notes.
is there a stylus that's stored in the
Yes,
spine
no,
of it?
it's hold on. I just
She's got
Like
a
a
cool Omega chair.
gaming
Right?
chair there.
Yeah.
There we go.
Look at
That's
that.
lit up with the
that's my
gaming chair.
son, my son's chair. So this is the pen.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I this goes with me all the time wherever I go. Yeah,
Mark this day. Elizabeth had a pick of the week.
I have a pick of the week. No, it's actually it came into my mind now that we were talking about it. What I was going to talk about is my ring, because
Ah,
this
yeah.
is the Aura ring that I was
Yeah.
telling
Ah.
you yesterday. And it's really cool because for me, like it's small. I don't have to wear like a big watch or anything like that, and it tracks my sleep. Where for wellness and purposes, it's the most important thing that I wanted to keep track of how my sleep was. And yesterday I had an experience because I got my score of my sleeping score, and then I went to the acupuncturist, and I went back to the app, and then it showed me that my score went up 6 points. So I went from 84 to 90, and I was like, wow, this really worked. I love to see that data because I can compare and see how effective it is. And I wasn't really like sure how much it worked or if I actually was able to relax. And I totally was looking through the data and I was like, wow, this is really cool.
Get direct
Wearable
feedback.
technology,
Wearable.
wearable technology, and ancient medicine. Who would have thought that those two would come
Chinese
together?
medicine.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm serious. That's awesome. No, I mean, the fact that you could see that.
Yeah.
Somebody's putting me in like a pincushion, but then I come back and my ring tells me I'm doing better. You got to be kidding. So
There's
no,
a
that's
lot
fantastic.
of data that you can get from it. So it gives you like restfulness and readiness, and it also gives you alert when you haven't had enough sleep or if your stress level is too high. It measures the heart rate, balance, and everything. Like temperature notifies you as well when things are off. So I like that because I can keep track of when, what activity I did, what leads to that result, and then I can adjust things.
It should have a handicap setting for small business owners. Knowing that, oh, this is going to stress me out. This is going to throw off my readings completely. Yeah, it's just like an adjustment factor, an algorithmic number.
I feel like we've got maybe that's just an advertising strategy, right? We take two things that work well together, the aura and acupuncture, dental work and breweries, right? We take two things, couple them together, and create
Put them together.
advertising package.
We bring the old and the new world together.
We take two gravitational pull items and bring them together as one into one gigantic advertising message. I think that's it's got me thinking.
All for some swag.
all for some swag and to quit our jobs and do this for the whole time.
We're not shameless. We would do it.
Yeah, we just need to come up with a branding for that. Right? Mutually assured advertising or something like that. All right. Well, I think we're approaching the 1 hour 26, and we started pretty soon after I hit the record button. So we're going long, and I know folks have things to do for the rest of the afternoon, and I just wanted to say, voila, episode number 6. Here we are. And if you'd like to hear more of the Helical Brew crew, you can go to helicalbrew.com or look us up on Spotify and iTunes under Helical Brew. We've got 4 episodes up right now. We'll have a 5th up shortly. And then, of course, this episode here will make number 6. So happy Halloween, everybody.
Sura, I hope this episode fires you up.
And with that, have a great week, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for joining us on the Helical Brew podcast. We're glad to have you with us. If you'd like to watch more episodes, visit helicalbrew.com. That's helicalbrew.com.